Our listeners have waited long enough. David is going to quiz us on our Yu-Gi-Oh expertise.
That's right.
He has prepared not just a slideshow or a quiz. This is a true presentation. We are trying this on our recording software for the first time, and we're going to see if we know whether these cards are good enough. Are they meta? Are they good enough to make it as staples in other decks? Here we go.
And the standard is like, does it see modern play? Does it see modern play? If you're trying for whether or not it's good, all of these cards are pretty clearly either good or bad.
Okay.
So that there's not going to be any like trick like, oh well, it saw play in one format 2 months ago in one deck. No, these are all like pretty clearly no trick questions or anything. And I'll of course give context for the cards, so you can understand maybe how they would play in an actual game.
Okay. So I want Derek to guess first.
Okay.
Well, this first slide is just so the next slide after this is just how to read a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right?
Yeah. So, walk us through this.
Right. So of course we got the name. So Dark Magician Girl
and the underage girl.
She's not underage.
I don't think she's. I don't know. Actually, it's Japan.
She's like
it looks like a teenager to me.
She's like what 3,000 years old.
Exactly.
No, she's not that old. So the lore is that she was like an apprentice back in the Egyptian times before she got turned into a Yu-Gi-Oh card to fight for the pharaoh. So I don't know how old she was.
Classic problem.
Depicted as 19.
19.
Okay.
So we're good.
Thanks, Randy.
Maybe they should start putting the age.
Yeah,
right,
19.
Right
in
there,
parentheses, right next to
born this day,
right here in the corner. Okay. So we've got the monster's name, its attribute, its level.
So this is a level 6 monster.
Okay. The type.
It's a spellcaster effect monster.
The effect of the creature itself.
Right.
And then its attack and its defense values.
Right.
Listeners, remember that Yu-Gi-Oh cards are played in either attack or defense mode, where they use only that number.
Right.
Magic cards kind of use their power and toughness at the same time simultaneously. But Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it depends on what mode they're in.
Yeah. In attack position, only the attack points will matter in damage calculation, and in defense position, only the defense points matter. So the attribute is like its color, which, like I said earlier, it doesn't really matter unless you're playing a specific deck that synergizes with certain attributes. But that's basically its color. So this is dark. The level tells you
how many attributes are there in Yu-Gi-Oh?
7. There's 7. So there's light, dark, earth, wind, fire, water, and divine. Divine is only for the Egyptian god cards. So that doesn't really it counts, but like most cards, because there will be some cards that'll be like none of the attributes can affect it, but they never include divine. They just say dark, light, fire, water, wind, earth. But normally like divine is like kind of its own thing. It's basically exclusive to the Egyptian god cards, which if you watch the anime, those are like the supposedly most powerful cards in all of Duel Monsters, so
not anymore.
Not meta.
You're not Zeus. Yeah, not meta, exactly.
Not meta. Okay, yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, the type, it doesn't matter unless a card brings it up. Spellcaster is its primary, like that's its main type, like that's its monster's type. The effect just denotes that it's an effect monster, meaning that it's a monster that has an effect. If it doesn't,
and they have a slightly darker border.
Right, they have a
slightly
brown
darker brown border usually.
Yeah, so an effect, but if it doesn't have an effect and it's in the main deck, then it's a normal monster. So it would say spellcaster normal. So the levels tell you how many monsters you need to tribute on the field to summon it. So if the monster's level 4 or lower, you can play it from your hand for free without tributing any cards. And if it's 5 or 6, you would need to tribute 1. And if it's 7 or higher, you would need to tribute 2.
And tribute means sacrifice, right?
Yes, sacrifice, yes. So to summon Dark Magician Girl, you would need to tribute 1 monster on the field. And you only get 1 normal summon per turn. So you would have to play a monster, wait a turn, and then tribute it to play Dark Magician Girl.
Yes.
But there are special summons. You get one normal summon per turn, but you get unlimited special summons per turn, which can only be given by card effect. So, are there any questions about how to read the Yu-Gi-Oh card?
Real quick, how many life points do you get? 8,000?
8,000 life points each, yes.
Okay.
And what do those points sound like?
Yeah.
That was good. Okay, here we go.
First one, Kuriboh. So I wrote all the stuff on the left so you don't have to read the tiny little
Thank you.
Thank you.
on the card.
We're old men.
Because, Yu-Gi-Oh does have a card text problem.
Well, its artwork is huge.
Yeah, the artwork is really big. And
then the text box is tiny, tiny, tiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right, Derek. Kuriboh. Level 1, Dark Fiend Monster, 300 attack, 200 defense. During damage calculation, if your opponent's monster attacks, quick effect, that means instant speed, you can discard Kuriboh and take no battle damage.
That means from your hand, right?
Yes, discard has to be from your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, this seems like basically an instant speed fog or spore frog or whatever that lets me survive one turn. I think this is a good card to, you keep it in your hand or whatever.
I think this is good card. What is everyone?
Oh, not like a good card. It's not going to like win the game or anything, but it save you a turn, I think.
So you think this is like modern play?
Yeah, I think it's these modern.
I don't know
play.
how much of a power creep thing Yu-Gi-Oh would have had. I assume, let's say it is modern.
Yeah. I know people are still playing like Link Kuriboh and other various versions of Kuriboh.
I'm still playing Fox in Commander, so I think it's still used.
I think it probably is more important now than it used to be, because if they combo out and then go to attack, it's a 1-card counterspell for their whole combo. If it's a combo that ends in an attack, like you get huge monster and attack with it. Yeah, I think it sees play.
Okay. You're all wrong.
Dang.
You're all wrong.
It's like, this is garbage. You should throw it away.
Yeah, Kuriboh is not a good card.
If you have any of your old versions of Kuriboh, put them directly in the trash.
So Kuriboh is the first of its kind. It's what's called a hand trap. Okay. And a hand trap is just like, it's an instant speed card that you can activate from your hand on your opponent's turn. And Kuriboh was the first ever hand trap. So it does have like a historic, and of course it was used in the anime. It was Yugi's companion.
Yeah.
But the problem,
yeah,
the little sounds it makes or whatever.
And they multiply over and over. Yep.
Yes. The problem with Kuriboh is that it only stops one monster, and it only stops one attack.
Okay. So it won't stop a whole turn.
Okay. It won't, and it doesn't end the battle phase. So if they have multiple monsters, they can still attack you with those. And even if they only had one monster and you stop the attack, it doesn't remove anything from their field. So next turn, they can attack again, unless you have another Kuriboh. But at that point, you just have 2 dead cards in your hand waiting for your opponent to attack, where it would be much better to have a card that gives you something that gets you to further your plays or stop your opponent. This is just prolonging the inevitable. It's much better to have a removal card or something than a card that just says, "Oh, wait one more turn before you kill me."
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's true in Magic too. Fogs generally aren't very good.
They work on you guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's better. It's better in Commander than it is in. So we have to remember, Yu-Gi-Oh is more like 60 card one-on-one Magic.
Yeah.
Where card advantage is a much bigger deal.
I mean, in Magic, all creatures that an opponent controls...
It's a one-shot.
All creatures attack at the same time.
And a fog stops all of them.
And a fog stops all of them.
Yeah. Now, in Yu-Gi-Oh, each creature attacks one at a time. So you would only stop one creature, because each one attacks one at a time. And so you did mention Link Kuriboh. Link Kuriboh actually is a good card, and it got banned earlier this year.
Really?
Yes. Link Kuriboh did get banned. But Link Kuriboh has a similar effect where it basically stops one battle. But the problem, like the reason why this is bad, but that's not, is because Link Kuriboh gets a monster in your graveyard, because it's a link monster, you have to summon it, you have to send a monster from your field to the grave. And because a lot of decks care about the graveyard and have effects in the graveyard, it can further your plays in the graveyard. And because it stays on the field when you play it, you can use it to summon other monsters. So that's why Link Kuriboh would be good. People generally don't even use the effect of Link Kuriboh that much. It's just what it does as a card. And this one doesn't really do much as a card.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kuriboh probably got power crept by Blue Eyes White Kuriboh or something.
There are actually a lot of different Kuribohs.
Yeah. I watched a Dododoya episode where his entire deck is all the different Kuribohs.
I built a deck like that.
Yes.
It's a pretty fun deck, but the Kuriboh will never win you the game in that deck. It's the monsters that it lets you summon by putting a bunch of bodies on the field.
Yeah. After all your monster spaces are filled, you can do the 2 sacrifices or the 3 sacrifices to get your gods, your big whatever creatures.
It mostly uses link monsters.
Yeah. All right, Kuriboh, not meta. Sorry, get out of here.
Yep.
Change of Heart, a normal spell. Target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of it until the end phase.
Okay, is there summoning sickness in Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, except on the first turn of the game.
First turn.
I think this would be used.
What's your reasoning, Derek? Why?
Well, you take their biggest thing, you hit them with it, and you either kill their monster that they're blocking with, or you deal direct damage, or something.
Can you take control of it, swing with it, and then
Like sacrifice it
to summon your own thing?
If you had something that could use that as material, yeah. Like if you haven't used your normal summon and you had a monster that could be tribute summoned, like Dark Magician Girl, you could tribute it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good card.
Yeah, I bet
you take their best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so too, because it's a removal spell, or that's how I see it.
It'd be a double removal spell. If they have another creature, you take their biggest one, attack the next biggest one, then tribute it to something else. And
yeah,
it basically is the fodder for tribute and a removal. Like, yeah, I bet it's pretty good.
All wrapped up in one card.
That's correct. That's correct. This is a good card, yes.
Woo.
Now the question is, do you think this card is banned?
Ooh,
well,
I bet it probably is.
I think it is banned because there's
seems like they don't like fun.
Yeah, well, I know that there's other cards like Snatch Steal, Enemy Controller that always either make you pay something extra to do this, or they give your opponent something in return to do this.
I will say Enemy Controller is at 3 copies, but Snatch Steal is at 1 copy right now. You can only play 1 copy of it in your deck. Snatch Steal, basically, it's an equip spell, and when it equips to an opponent's monster, it takes control of it, and every turn your opponent gains 1,000 life points.
Yeah.
So that's what Snatch Steal does. But it keeps it on your board indefinitely, and that's why it's limited to 1. So, with that context, do you think this card is banned?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's not banned, but it is. So
got him.
I won by not committing.
Is it limited to 1?
Yes, it's limited to 1 copy. You only have 1 in your deck. This card it's for all the reasons you said. Basically, you can take it, attack your opponent with it, and then use it as material for a different monster. Especially in mirror matches, which are very common in Yu-Gi-Oh. If it's a mirror match and it's a card that will be beneficial for your strategy, just taking it, it's just a good effect, you know. Like your opponent probably committed a lot of resources to get that on the field, and unless it's untargetable, just take it. Yeah, this was used in the anime by Bakura, so
yeah.
I try to put a lot of anime cards.
The Change of Heart card.
That was a good impression, man.
Goodbye, little Yugi.
Yeah. So this
The
one is
Flame
good.
Swordsman.
Okay, I think we get the idea.
Is that the next card? Y'all, did this child just tell me to stop?
I think he did.
Before we had to, thankfully.
That's right.
Here we go. Next one.
He pays your salary.
Yeah. Monster Reborn. Normal
It's just
spell.
the same dude, but like on drugs now.
No, it's not the same dude.
Okay. It looks like it went from Yami to Yami Yugi, Or Yugi to Yami Yugi, whatever.
No, they're both Yami. That was Yami Bakura, and this is Yami Merrick.
This is Yami Merrick, yeah.
Yeah, this is an amazing card. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is an all-star. Probably, it came out when Yu-Gi-Oh came out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's been in play since.
Why do you think that?
Well, you get, I guess, your best monster out of the graveyard. You
Or
get the
your
Or
opponent's
theirs.
best monster.
Yeah.
or their best
But
monster.
I think it bypasses all the costs to play it. If you have something that takes 2 tributes, well, instead you just discard it to get some other benefit from another effect, and then plop it on the battlefield.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty spot on. It's good. Yeah, for all those reasons.
I mean, the
either
fact-
graveyard, it's generic. There's no cost.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay anything to use this card. It's a sorcery from your hand for free.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do you think it was banned?
No.
No.
I'm almost certain that it's limited at once.
Also,
It's limited to one. It's limited to one copy. So you can only play one in your deck. I will say this card doesn't see as much meta play as Change of Heart. It's honestly pretty easy to get stuff out of your graveyard without this card in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I feel like just about every archetype can get their stuff out of their graveyard.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do without this. It's really kind of unnecessary. And if you open this card in your opening hand and you don't have anything in your graveyard because it's the start of your turn,
Then it's
it might
dead
be
for a
better to
while.
have some sort of like starter instead. But this is still a good card that still does see play. So yeah. It's
Cool.
correct,
Yeah.
All right, we're doing pretty good, guys. Here we go.
Okay, I need to give some context on this. So they were talking about the extra deck earlier. So what that is, it's just like a 15 card deck on the side, on the opposite side from your main deck. And it's basically like a second hand. You can look at the cards whenever you want, and as long as you fulfill the summoning requirements on the card, you can play it onto the field. So the extra deck has Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, and Link cards, and this is a fusion monster. So in order to summon a fusion monster, what you need is Polymerization, or any spell that allows you to fusion summon.
Do you need me to go to the next slide for this?
If you go to the next slide. So you would need a card that lets you fusion summon, and then the materials listed on the fusion monster. So
On the field or just in your hand?
So Polymerization, it lets you use it from your hand or field. But different fusion cards let you do different things.
Okay.
So there is a card called Ultimate Fusion, which is specifically meant to summon Blue Eyes fusion monsters that lets you exile. It's called Banish in Yu-Gi-Oh! You exile the cards from your hand, field, or graveyard to summon it. So they can be in any 3 of those spots. Well,
Wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
Or I think it shuffles them back into the deck, actually. Yeah, it shuffles them back into the deck. It doesn't exile them.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and for a reminder, you have 8,000 life points in Yu-Gi-Oh!
So it's a 2-shot.
And he's a 4,500 attack.
I'm going to take a swing here. I think this is not a good card. I think it used to be, and being in the light attribute, they're probably all like Blue Eyes and stuff like that. But I think this is a bad Blue Eyes card.
Why do you think that?
I think it's too expensive, and there's probably better things to use your Blue Eyes White Dragons to make.
I will say it's pretty easy to get your Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field in the hand on your first turn with the modern Blue Eyes deck. So
Getting all 3 of them on the field?
Well, they can be in the field or in your hand for polymerization.
Okay.
Even
Randy,
so,
what are your thoughts on this one? On Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon?
I'm going to say it is currently played.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so. I think if it takes 4 cards, if it takes 4 cards to get it out, that's like your whole starting hand. So you need 3 Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
You need polymerization.
Yeah.
You need
A way fodder to get the Blue Eyes out, or some kind
yeah.
of
Well,
way
you don't
get
have to
the
have
Blue
them
Eyes
out. Let's assume you can have them all in your hands, right?
Yeah,
But
okay.
still, like, and then the whole rest of your deck has to be ways to get Blue Eyes to your hand if you're wanting to play this consistently, and then they can just change of heart it. No.
I was going to say, I look at this card and think of it like a magic card and say it has no protection and no effects. It's a
No
get on the
board?
field, do nothing.
But it deals over half the life points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Not against again what I would a magic term, a chump blocker. any card in defense mode.
Not a Kuriboh.
True,
No
this could be
trample?
stopped by a Kuriboh.
No, but I mean any card in defense mode, and
Yeah.
Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon doesn't matter,
Yeah.
or that attack power doesn't matter. I mean,
Okay,
So
I'll give you guys.
I have a quick question: Is Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon that would be in like the little side deck, right?
Yes.
That's not in your maiden deck.
Yes, you don't have to draw it or search it.
Yeah,
You always have
and then
access to it.
I feel like there's plenty of, or not plenty. I feel like there's abilities in Yu-Gi-Oh that people think, well, I have a blocker out, blah blah blah, and then there's cards that'll be like, turn your 100/100 Kuriboh into attack position. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the crap out of you with my 4500.
There is a card like that called Stop Defense, which literally just changes the
Right.
monster to attack position. So
Yeah,
I will give you that this is a very expensive card to get out, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a very combo-heavy game, so it's pretty easy to get 3 Blue Eyes on the field or in your hand, and there's also plenty of removal options too. So like if they have a defense position monster, you can always change of heart it or remove it with a different spell. So
well, but what I'm saying is, I think Blue Eyes doesn't have any protection or effects on it.
well,
All it is a body.
Well, I
Yeah.
will say that even though it is a body, 3,000 is usually the most, most boss monsters in the game will go to is 3,000. So,
Well, all right, David. It sounds like you're being pretty apologetic on Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon's side.
okay.
I
so-
feel like Blue
Tell
Eyes.
us.
Okay, so like people watch the show, they say, "I want to make a Blue Eyes White Dragon," so they come out with a new Blue Eyes all the time,
Yeah.
like some kind of something within that, like that attribute or whatever, that constantly pushes the limit with power creep. And I think this one's been left behind.
You
I
got it.
disagree.
I know we got it.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Like,
This card,
All right.
this card only saw play in a very old format where they could basically cheat out fusion monsters without having to pay any other cost. That's the
Well,
only
yeah.
time this card saw play. Yeah, there is literally better cards that take 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons and have the same stats.
Derek called it.
Yeah.
it's
I
been
was-
power crept out.
I was going,
And
with,
it's probably like Blue Eyes Ultimate Galaxy
Supreme Dragon.
Cosmos
No.
Supreme.
So there's
in-
Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, and then there's Neo
Yes.
Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
I was about to say
Neo.
Neo or something. Yeah.
Neo
He's
Blue
wearing
Eyes
a
Ultimate
mask.
Dragon. And
the
they
reason
take
why
the same, yeah.
the reason I said that it might still be playable is because you said something about it was something that you said made it sound like it was still currently run in decks, and I was like, I think he messed up, so I'm gonna say that. But hey, you got me. Maybe you did that on purpose to trick me.
I got you. I did. Yeah.
Next one.
Next one.
Sorry, Kaiba. Screw the rules. I have money.
And that's how you really win.
The best card in my deck. My credit card.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one I've never seen. Magical Scientist.
Old hipster man.
I like it. I like his artwork a lot. Level 1 dark spellcaster effect monster. 300 attack, 300 defense. Pay 1,000 life points to special summon a level 6 or lower fusion monster from your fusion deck in face-up attack or defense. That monster cannot attack your opponent's life points directly and is returned to your fusion deck at the end of turn.
I think this is absolutely used.
Yeah, remind me
me
again. Can you play him in defense position and use this ability?
So how it works is when you normal summon a monster, it either has to be face up attack or face down defense position.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you wanted to play it face up, you would have to flip it face up on your next turn because you can only change the battle positions of your monsters once per turn.
Right.
Okay. So yeah. Okay.
So if you want this effect the turn you play it, it has to be in attack mode.
So that makes you
Yes.
vulnerable. Yeah.
300 is pretty weak.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely used. You get
Oh, yeah.
some. I mean, it tutors for, some 6 or less fusion monster, which will let you do something that gets it even bigger, and maybe you sacrifice it to get something even bigger than that. Because like we summoned that fusion monster, now you have 2 creatures on the field. You could sack those for a big monster.
Yeah.
And have a big boy.
Yep.
This is this is part of the combo
Plus
chain.
whatever effect of the fusion monster.
Yeah. I think this is absolutely used.
Yeah. This
Okay,
is part of the what do you call it? Like a birthing pod chain.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This is
That's
one of the. one of those
So
middle
but
steps.
you can only do this 7 times though, because you have 8,000 life points.
A good player would
Holy.
only need to do it once, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Wait, hold on. Is it not limited to once per turn?
it's not once per turn.
So I could play it and immediately
Oh my
special summon
god,
7
go
monsters?
crazy. This is
Oh,
probably
yeah,
banned.
yeah.
It's so
Creatures.
good.
Okay, I was gonna show you the next slide because
Oh, sorry. Was there a next slide?
yes. So that was an interesting combo you're thinking of, but I was thinking maybe this card would make you think of a different combo. You guys really caught on really quickly, so I didn't think you were gonna catch on that quickly.
You
But
contribute 1 monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attributed monster's attack.
so
Yeah.
this card was you. Okay, I'll just give it to you. Yeah, that card is broken.
So you do
So-
that 7 times.
Yes.
So you do
Wait,
his
wait,
effect
wait.
7 times, and with Catapult Turtle, you just
Sacrifice,
Beat 'em up.
sacrifice it and burn your opponent down to 0.
Yeah. So
Sick.
yeah, it's
I
a good
love it.
card. The question is Magical Scientist banned?
Yes.
I think this is such a crazy effect. I think it is.
Go back to the turtle one real quick.
So
This is in your side deck,
have
right?
The Catapult
it's-
Turtle's in your main deck, and the
Yeah.
Magical.
Oh, okay. okay.
Oh.
So you still have to draw them. You still have to draw.
Okay.
yeah, the artwork's
Yeah,
a bit weird.
can you do
the,
3 or
the
4?
color of that border is a tad off.
Uh,
Can you do 3 or 4 of a card and
Three
Three.
copies.
Three. Okay. I mean, I feel like you run 3 Capital Turtles, 3 Scientists.
Catapult
If they're
Turtle-
allowed.
Get a fusion monster that can
3
tutor
pots
a
of
creature
greed.
out or something.
So Catapult
Well,
Turtle is a
agreed is
level
banned.
5. Is a level 5, so you do need to tribute a monster on the
One
field
thing,
to play
so-
it.
So can you play?
Oh yeah, so you just
the
tribute whatever
Scientist?
fusion monster you get. Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so you guys think it's banned?
I think
Magical
if
Scientist
not
banned.
banned, then it's only got like 1 copy in the deck.
I think it's
Yeah,
banned.
'cause it does feel like you could like turn 1 kill someone without ever having to swing.
Yeah.
I think it's banned because it completely gets rid of the need for polymerization or any materials.
Or
Like
combat.
any number of materials.
You as I say, turn 1. Oh, I can't swing. I don't need to.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
gonna
guys
throw.
are
I'm gonna throw things at you.
you guys
Yeah.
are right on the money. This card is mega banned, and it's just crazy. It's for all the reasons you said. You got it exactly right. I didn't think you guys were gonna catch on so quickly.
We're
I
seasoned
underestimated it.
players.
Yeah, this card is crazy. It
Well,
was
What's cool, I think, about this experiment, and there's still more, but for the same reason David understands some of those core concepts in Magic, because we have been playing games for so long, there are some core concepts in Yu-Gi-Oh that we get to.
Yeah.
Like the concepts of card advantage, the concepts of using our life as a resource, like Magical Scientist wants to do. Like, I don't need 8,000 life points to win the game. I need
Just
one.
need 1.
Yeah. So all the rest can be spent.
Mhm.
And the idea of tutoring cards, getting cards for free without having to use their resources or materials to get to them. Those are all parts of what make cards valuable, what make cards good.
And Catapult Turtle isn't banned, but it is banned in the OCG, which is the Japanese and Asian territories version of the game. It's the same rules and everything. It's just they have a different printing schedule. They get the cards earlier and they have a different ban list. So
Interesting.
this card is banned currently. It actually got banned this year because
Interesting.
people were doing some crazy stuff with this card.
Huh.
Turn
I wouldn't
one
have
kills.
I wouldn't have expected this to be banned since
It's not banned in the
deck.
TCG though, and it doesn't see any play in the TCG.
What
Yeah.
does OCG stand for?
Official card game.
Official card game.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Magic Cylinder. I love this card. It's a normal trap, so you play it face down. You have to wait for your opponent's next turn at the least. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. It's a deflecting palm
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
in Magic.
Well, deflecting palm.
I mean,
sees
I
play
However
as
much I
Thunder.
love this card, I don't think it's meta,
No.
actually.
I don't think it's played, but I think it's along the same lines of Kuriboh, except you could, like with deflecting palm, you just get someone with their own thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, please don't swing at me with the ultimate dragon or whatever.
But what if they were attacking you with Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon? That's like You do over
I mean,
half their life back at
and-
them.
Unless it
Yeah,
kills
I mean it's
them.
cool. I just don't think it's good.
Yeah, if it doesn't kill them,
Seeing
then
as I guess all the creatures don't attack at the same time.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
it's this-
Remember that like the average boss monsters are sitting around 3,000, and you have 8,000 life points, right?
Oh yeah, that would mean they'd have to have a big creature for it to even be worth it.
But like they will have a big creature basically all the time for you to deflect.
Yeah, but if they were doing like the catapult turtle thing, that wouldn't work.
Well, it's banned though. from
Well, I
this
know,
one.
but I'm just saying, like, if they're doing some kind of strategy like that with the combo,
Magic
I
Cylinder
lied.
was
This
part
isn't
of my
good.
Time
This
Lord
isn't good.
deck that I liked.
Okay, yeah, this card isn't good. It was good maybe 20 years ago.
It's fun to watch people play it in Goat. When
Yeah,
I watch Goat format on
Goat format. I
on
think this card
YouTube.
is limited in Goat format actually.
Yeah.
But in current modern day, it's at 3. It's also a trap card, so
Yeah.
Um,
so you have to play it, and they know it's sitting there.
yeah, they can see. Yeah, so
Yeah. They can remove it ahead of time. They can
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not meta. You suck,
Not
Magic
meta.
Cylinder.
yeah. In Duel Links though,
Derek.
in Duel Links though, this card was crazy because Duel Links you only have 4,000 life points.
Mhm.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Whoa.
In Duel Links, they had to errata the card to only deal half the damage.
Wow.
Because yeah.
All right, next one.
Hmm.
Effect
Can we get an
Veiler.
H next to this character?
Randy, lore check on Effect Veiler. Level 1. Light.
I mean,
What is
0
your
attack,
search?
0 defense. This is about to be a crazy ass card.
What is your search history?
Yeah, but it's a
You
level
don't want
one.
to know.
Randy's algorithm is all kinds of
Effect
messed
Veiler
up, dude.
age.
Exactly what I typed.
Spellcaster Tuner Effect Monster. 0 attack, 0 defense. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. We've got another hand trap. Then target one effect monster your opponent controls. Negate the effects of that face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn.
I was gonna say I think it's good. I don't think it's great because you could either play it to sacrifice for something bigger and better, or you hold it in your hand and hoping they have a crazy creature or whatever that could like that catapult turtle or blam. But I don't know. It kind of depends on what your opponent's doing, which could be good or bad.
Well, and the stack is different in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So it's a batch, right?
So how it works, it's the chain in Yu-Gi-Oh. So once the chain starts resolving, nothing else can be added onto the chain, and everything has to resolve as is.
Okay,
Unlike
but-
Magic, where people get priority every single time something resolves.
yeah.
Even as things are resolving, you go back down, people can still add back to it again.
But the reason I ask is, let's say I'm targeting the turtle, they can just keep using it on the chain, right?
No, because the turtle is not a quick effect. So
Okay.
So this has quick effect, so it's at instant speed. In order to respond to so it's called, we have spell speeds in Yu-Gi-Oh. Spell speed 1 is basically sorcery, ignition effects, and things like that. Spell speed 2 is quick effects and trap cards. So trap cards can be activated at instant speed, and quick play spells can be activated at instant speed and quick effects. And you can only respond to cards if the card is the same spell speed or lower. Or higher. Same spell speed or higher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Does tuner mean anything?
Yes, yes, it does mean something. I will say for the evaluation of this card, it doesn't particularly matter, but a tuner just means that it could be used for a synchro summon. So,
Which is another type of special summon.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, my final verdict is I think this card is okay. It probably has use, like niche use in like 1 or 2 decks, and that's it.
I think
I don't-
that's 90% of modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Is it's like we were talking about earlier. It's good for one deck that really specializes in it.
No, but
and
I
can't be used anything
So
else.
I don't even think it's a specialty card. It's a defensive card. I
Yeah.
don't think it's good.
I think this is a sideboard card that
Yeah,
that
that's-
matters in best of 3, and I've seen this card see play in Master Duel because Master Duel is best of one, where your decks are just kind of full of hand traps. 12 cards in your deck are negates that you can play straight from your hand. And this is one. Say somebody's say they just played a creature and its effect is destroy 3 creatures. You can say effect veiler, and you turn it off. Or say it's a creature that says, oh, it's only during your opponent's main phase. But I was going to say a creature that has the effect that says this card can't be targeted or whatever. You can effect veiler it and then hit it with something else.
Well, if it can't be targeted, how are you going to target one effect monster?
Never mind.
Good catch. I didn't even. Yeah. If it can't be targeted, then yeah, you can't target it.
Or something that says you could play this on something that says like cannot be destroyed by battle or something, and then play effect veiler, and now it can. Like there's. I think effect veiler is better than what y'all said it was. I'm still not sure if it's meta though. If it makes it into the main deck for the first game.
So, ready for the reveal?
Yes, I'm ready.
This is a good card. This card is meta. Yes, this card is meta. So, originally,
I don't believe you.
It is. In fact, at the most recent YCS Yu-Gi-Oh! Champion Series, this card actually saw a lot of play. And about the side deck, yeah. So the going second, this card is better than going first because it can only be activated during your opponent's main phase. So it's better to have this hand in your hand going second. So you could put this in the side deck, but it's also just good going first too. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Relies on like lots of searching and adding cards from deck to hand.
Yeah.
If your opponent draws a hand and they only have one starter and you negate their one starter, they can't get their combo going. So this is less used to stop big, powerful monsters with powerful effects. It's more used to stop your opponent from even getting those monsters on the field
from starting their combo.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier this episode how Red Dragon Archfiend relies on those resonator cards to search out a bunch of materials so that I can do my big synchro summon for Red Dragon Archfiend. Effect Veiler could stop those little creatures from searching out the next thing in the chain.
Yeah. I will say it doesn't see as much play as other powerful hand traps. Because it only affects one monster at a time, and it only affects it on the field. But it still sees a lot of play, especially in hand trap heavy formats. Like the most recent format, people are running up to like 20 hand traps. Like half their deck is hand traps, just because they have so much space because the engines are so small. So in formats like that, this card sees a lot of play. It's also not a hard ones per turn, which means you can use multiple copies of it. So if you have 2 effect veilers in your hand, you can use both. So if you run 3 in your deck, you have a decent chance of drawing 2 in however many games you play in a tournament. So you could use this multiple times in a turn if you have multiple copies. Whereas most of the other powerful hand traps, you can only use 1 copy of that card per turn, which is called a hard ones per turn. This one doesn't have that clause. So, because it's an older card. When I say older, I mean like 2010. So yeah, this is a good card. It sees modern play. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, the rest of y'all suck at this.
I mean, they got
I was at your level. I was saying I thought it was an okay card.
Next one.
Also, just so you know, there is no age on this card, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't think there is one. It was used in like the 5D's anime like twice, and I don't think it ever had any like lore or explanation to it.
Yeah. It did come out in 2010 though.
Magic Jammer.
It's a permanent,
counter
right?
trap. When a spell card is activated, discard 1 card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it.
I have a question. Can this card be used over and over? Or is it just like...
Counter traps and normal traps, they get sent to the graveyard as soon as they resolve. So it would go to the graveyard as soon as it resolves. But it stays on the field set face down until you activate it.
Okay, so you can only ever just discard 1 card to negate 1 activation?
Right. Yeah, so there's the condition behind the colon and then the cost behind the semicolon. You pay the cost and then it gets put on the chain. and when it resolves, what happens is all the stuff after the semicolon.
Okay.
Derek, what do you think?
In Magic, I feel like this would be pretty cool. Well,
I mean,
because
it's
you have 7 card hands.
it's force of will.
Yeah.
Discard a card. Counter targets.
Hard.
So it's a 2-for-1. If this did monsters, I'd say it's pretty good because monsters require a lot of things. But a spell card is they play it, and then it costs you the trap and the card from your hand to negate their 1 card.
I think it's a good card, but I don't know how high of a cost discarding 1 card is in Yu-Gi-Oh. How many cards do you start with?
You draw 5 at the start of your turn.
You draw 5,
No.
and it's all about combos. So you might have to discard a combo piece.
Yeah.
Which would suck. But you have graveyard stuff, so I guess it depends on.
That's true. I could see it in reanimator decks, like the 1 card we saw earlier that was put any card from any graveyard into play. I could see you just using this as a tool for that.
Yeah, but in that case, why don't you just discard the Monster Reborn? Same basic.
What?
Well, I guess that's a special summon, so maybe not. I
And
don't think it's
also,
good.
I also will give context. Counter trap means that it's, you know how I said there's spell speed 1 and spell speed 2? Counter traps are the only cards in the game that are spell speed 3, meaning they can only be responded to by other counter traps.
Okay.
So your opponent can't respond to this unless they have a counter trap of their own.
I guess with that knowledge, I want to say it's good, but I don't know. It's only spell cards. You have to discard maybe one of your combo pieces.
But think about it, you can stop one of their starters.
Yeah. Well, isn't a starter a creature?
A starter is just any card that gets your combo going, and a lot of times it'll be a spell card.
But their starter could be a creature, which it wouldn't help you there.
It could be, but a lot of times the monster will search a spell that'll activate an effect. Like in the branded deck, Aluber, the Jester of Despia, normal summon to search Branded Fusion, which gets your plays going. If you play your Branded Fusion, which gets all your plays going, they negate it with Magic Jammer, and now you're basically stuck.
How many of the rest of y'all just heard?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna say it's meta.
I'm a coin flip. I could see it going either way. If I had to put my finger on the pulse, I'm gonna say it's bad.
I'm gonna say it's
Or
good.
I'm gonna say it doesn't see play.
I'm gonna say it does.
I think it's bad.
If it does see play, it's specifically because it has the spell speed 3 or whatever it is.
I think card advantage is too important in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
To be discarding a card to do something else.
All right, Randy.
I said meta.
You think it is meta?
So we're split 50-50.
2 and 2.
Yeah, we're split.
This card is bad.
Yeah.
This card is bad. Discarding 1 card is too high of a cost when you can run something like a hand trap instead, which discards itself as cost. Especially when you might have very valuable cards in your hand, especially because you have to set this. So it would be on your opponent's turn when you do this. So you've already exhausted most of your resources in your hand in the first place, and so you might not even have a card to discard at that point. And the counter trap, it doesn't matter. Like,
when he was saying that, I was thinking this is a red herring. He's
spell
trying to
speed
fool
3.
us.
I mean, nobody even plays counter traps, but the thing is, it's just like it doesn't make a big enough impact to warrant like the whole meta being shifted to play counter traps against it. It's like, okay, you negated my card, that sucks. But yeah,
I'm gonna make a deck out of all the cards you say are bad.
This could.
I guess if I'm thinking about it, counter trap is basically split second.
Yeah. This is like an uncounterable.
And they're used, but they're not like great.
It's like an uncounterable force of will, except it goes to your graveyard instead of to exile. I can think of decks where I would play this.
There is a deck I can think of called Dark World that might benefit from being discarded to the graveyard. It's just not like worth it, because it would have to be on your opponent's. Well, it's when a spell card is activated at all, but that's going to be generally on your opponent's turn. So it's like it's hard to get your plays going on your opponent's turn just by discarding a card.
So Benjamin, you're saying, this is an uncounterable force of will. It's an uncounterable force of will that is face up on your board
Oh, it's face up?
Well, you've set it face down.
No, you set it face down, but I'm saying your opponent knows you have something. It's foretold. And it doesn't say counter target spell. It says counter target instant or sorcery.
Yeah, okay.
Counter target instant or sorcery, or as an alternate cost
so it's
spell or whatever, discard 1 card, counter target instant or sorcery, and it's foretold. So your opponent knows that something is coming, and you have to discard the card, and it only hits spell cards.
Right. The only hitting spell cards, that does make it different than Force of Will. Because Force of Will sees lots and lots of play.
Oh yeah, Force of Will sees tons of play, but that's because it can counter any card.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a couple left. We've got Juragedo. Level 4.
Jared
Dark
Leto.
Monster. Fiend effect monster. 1700 attack, 1300 defense. So this is a 4-star, fairly powerful dude. During the battle step, as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, gain 1,000 life points. You can only use this effect of Juragedo once per turn. Does that mean if you have multiple Juragedos, you can't?
Yeah, it means you can only use 1 copy of Juragedo. You can only use that effect of any copy of Juragedo per turn.
Okay. And then a different quick effect. You can tribute this card, then target 1 face-up monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of the next turn.
Question. So by quick effects, does that mean like as you're attacking something?
It can be at instant speed at any time. So it can be when an attack is declared. It can be during damage calculation.
That's what I was gonna.
So yeah. But it can be at any point in the duel at instant speed.
So it's basically wild growth. Not wild growth.
Giant growth?
Giant growth.
I guess in my head, it's like, if they were going to block something, wouldn't they already block the big things? So do you use it to, like, I'm going to swing him with 1,000 attack
combat
monster.
works differently, Randy.
Yeah.
You can't attack them directly unless they have no monsters on the field. You take 1, you attack their monster. Basically, all monsters have trample, except if they're in defense, then they lose trample.
No. Yeah, I know that. I'm saying that, like, if you had Juragedo and then, like, let's say a weaker monster that was like 1,000 attack, and you're like, I'll swing with the 1,000 attack monster first, and then if they don't do anything by surprise, if they don't have any like traps that they activate, could you then do the quick effect to sacrifice him to beef up another 1,000?
Yeah.
And then sneak in an extra 1,000. But it's like, if they were going to use the thing, they may save it for the 1,700 damage effect.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's why you try to like sneak it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do that. Except you would want to be. So if you did that on attack declaration, they could still do something to negate the attack or stop the attack. But if you did it during damage calculation, then they wouldn't be able to stop the attack unless they removed the monster from the field or ended the battle phase.
That's what I was thinking. But then I feel like people are going to be like, well, I know what Juragedo does.
At least that's for cards. Yeah, because most cards that negate attacks or on attack declaration, there are still cards like Kuriboh, for instance, would still be able to stop it. But most cards that negate attacks happen on attack declaration.
We've already learned no one's playing Kuriboh.
Okay, I'm just saying similar card effect.
I didn't know. I get what you mean.
I don't think it's good.
I can see why that second quick effect would be good if this were like the TV show, where you don't have to tell your opponents your monster's abilities.
Well,
until you use it.
Yeah.
Well, look.
But if it's written there, it seems.
No, you can quick effect it onto the field, gain 1,000 life, and then quick effect tribute it to. So it's basically that's why I said it's because from your hand. Whoop,
yeah.
Whoop,
okay.
Yeah. So on resolution of the first effect, you can activate the second effect.
So
Okay.
during the damage calculation phase, you can quick them in, and then gain your
sacrifice 'em.
1,000, and then sec them as well to beef up your guy 1,000.
Yeah.
So not
I like it.
I think it's good.
because
I'll
of
say
how
I
the
like
chains would resolve. So if you're chaining this, the effect would have to resolve, and then the rest of the chain would resolve, and then you would be able to activate the second effect. So if you
Is
activate
damage calculation part of the chain?
No, declaring an attack doesn't start a chain. So, but activating the effect would happen, then it would resolve, and then you would be in what's called an open game state where whatever happens, happens. So if you're declaring attack and the first effect you declare an attack, you activate this effect. Once it resolves, the attack will go through, so you won't be able to activate the second effect in the same window. You would have to wait for the attack to finish. So you would have to activate the first effect before damage calculation,
Before damage calculation.
and then you could activate the second one during whenever after.
So
I think
you
it's
don't
good.
go declare.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, do you do like I'm declaring the attack, bring him in, that resolves, and then you damage
Move to
calculation,
damage calculation, and sack him.
sack him.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Do
Okay,
that.
okay. So as soon as you like basically ninja him in, people are gonna be like, oh, okay, well,
If you're doing
now
it
I
on-
have to do something.
If you're doing it on their turn, they can declare attack on one of your monsters. You can quick effect him in, right?
Right.
And then
That's a blocker.
move to damage calculation, sack him
Yeah.
on defense.
I guess you can't quick effect him in as a blocker though, huh? He would have to come in attack mode.
They have
When,
to. he has
when
to
you
be there for them
special,
to
so
target.
when you normal summon, it has to be either face up attack or face down defense. But when you special summon, it could be face up attack or defense.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good then. But I was thinking like if you can't, if it had to be face down, then it's like, well, how do I know you're telling the truth about what you're even playing? If it's face
Right.
down, quick effect, and
And also,
Just trust me.
remember how Magical Scientist was banned because it got a free body on the field for no cost? This also gets you a free body on the field for
and
no
gave
cost.
you 1,000.
But it gets you this specific body, not anybody.
Yeah, and you
I'm
can't repeat it.
Benjamin's trying to
I
catch the
think
red herring.
I think it's good. I think the first effect is the important one. The second one is bonus stuff. I mean, 1,000 life points isn't nothing when it's like an eighth of your life total.
For comparison, an eighth of 20 life is 2.5.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I was saying this is giant growth. It's literally giant growth that gains you 3 life.
Yeah, okay. So, and then it's special summon, so it doesn't use up your normal free one.
Mhm.
You could sacrifice it, get a 5 or 6 star, and then start the chain from that. Or whatever. I think it's used.
I like it, but I don't think it's meta.
Yeah, I don't think it's meta either.
Where are you, Randy?
I'm going to.
Randy says, I want to get this one right.
I'm saying meta for the record.
Okay, I'm saying not meta.
Yeah.
Although I do like it, and as a beginner deck builder, I would probably try to pull this off a couple times.
I'll say meta.
And then realize how little use I got from
Alright.
it after losing lots of battles with it.
So we're 50-50 split. The final
Yeah, we're
answer is
50-50.
this card is not very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Revenge.
It's just not enough. So it doesn't really get you anything. It gets you 1,000 life, but again, like Benjamin said, it's like it's two life. Like that doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything about the state, and it doesn't have any protection, any extra effects. Like it gives you 1,000 extra attack on a monster. So what? Like so what?
Can I say that's another
well,
thing I hate
it can
about
s-
Yu-Gi-Oh is all these abstract numbers. You start doing like 1,000, 4,000, all that stuff. Stop the number. Take a 0 off.
Take 2
Or
zeros
2
off
zeros
everything.
off.
Sometimes they end with
off.
50, or sometimes they end with 50 or 25.
Even more, oh man,
Round it
half
down,
a penny.
round it
half
up.
a penny.
In,
So I have a
in
half
Magic,
penny.
those are uncards. They're joke
Yeah.
cards that have like 2.5 power.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this card it doesn't further your strategy, and it doesn't even stop the attack. So like, yes, you could buff up your
Yeah.
creature, but like if your creature is 1,000 and they're attacking with a 3,000, you still lose the battle. Even if you get it up to 2,000, you still lose the battle. It doesn't actually stop the attack. In fact, in many cases, this card might be worse than Kuriboh. The best part about this card is that it gets you a free body on the field for no cost that you can use for plays later on. So, but because it's in the battle phase also, if your opponent is attacking, they could just kill this guy because it's in the battle phase. And if in his effect to tribute himself takes him off the field, so your free body is gone for 1,000 extra attack, which is like, it's not very good.
Basically, Derek, would you play a 1 mana? 1 mana is the equivalent of free here. That says you can only play this during your combat step, or during a combat step. You can only play this during your combat step. It's this would be more than 1 mana, but like basically says
Land of War Elves with Flash.
Well, it's
life.
sacrifice. Yeah, when it enters there's actually cards like this where it's like sacrifice this creature. Target creature gets +3/+3 till end of turn.
I mean, I wouldn't. There's probably a deck for that effect, but I wouldn't even run that in like a green deck or anything. Like it'd have to be a very specific deck built around that card.
Last one.
Yep.
Here we go. Triple
like this
tactics talent.
This one might trip you guys up. I think this one is gonna get you guys.
Let's have 3 modes or 3 things.
Normal spell. If your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase this turn, activate one of these effects. Draw 2 cards. Take control of one monster your opponent controls until the end phase. Look at your opponent's hand and choose 1 card from it to shuffle into the deck. You can only activate 1 triple tactics talent per turn.
This is a bad card. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Which means it's good.
I mean,
I think this is an excellent card.
Yeah.
I mean, draw 2 cards is great in this game, but it's a normal spell. You have to wait for them to activate a monster effect
during your main phase.
I don't know how often that is. Yeah, like it feels so restrictive. And they know something's down there, and you can only activate it once per turn.
They don't have to know something's down here, right? You can play this during your main phase from your hand, right?
That's it's sorcery.
Oh,
speed.
okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't say like in response to an activation. It just checks to see if they've activated a monster effect during your main phase. Right. So if they negated anything, if they activated any monster effect during your main phase, maybe to get another body out or anything, then you get to play this card and draw 2. I think it's
I'm betting this is used, and it's probably meta. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I'm saying it's not meta, but I know the answer is probably meta.
I mean,
like draw 2 cards. I know how bad Pot of Greed was.
Yeah, I was about to say how bad does Pot of Greed have to be unplayable? Like, how bad does Ancestral Recall have to be unplayable? That's
Ancestral Recall is 1 blue.
I know what it. Yeah, it's target player.
Oh, pardon me.
Target player draws.
I actually didn't know what it did.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's one of the power 9. I know that.
Yes.
This kid's young. He learns fast. You know,
his brain still works.
I'm old, and I'm like, hey, I got room for Soul Ring.
He's got ADHD medication.
Yeah, we don't have that. We're too old.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
You missed the window for that.
Basically, okay. So
and it can tuck a card. You can look into your opponent's hand and shuffle it into their deck. Which is much better than discarding.
I'm gonna say it's bad.
You can only pick 1 though.
Right.
Okay. So where's everybody's final stances on this?
Meta. I think this card is
amazing.
I think it's bad, but it's probably meta because it gives you some options about like, oh, I need to get my combo piece, or I need to get rid of, it helps you in that one time. I think it's bad because you have to. It's entirely dependent on your opponent.
I don't even think
you can only do it once per turn.
Yeah, I don't even think this made your Exodia deck, which has like every draw 2 card there is.
It's good.
So
I think every deck has monster effects that triggered. I think every meta deck has monster effects that are activated during your opponent's main phase, and so like you can just rest assured that this is
For the doubters, that don't think this card is very good. Remember, we said Effect Veiler is meta.
I don't remember what Effect Veiler does, but okay.
That's the one of non-determinate age.
It's the
right.
It's the one that discards itself to negate a monster on the field.
to negate a monster.
Yeah, but you're doing that on their turn, which I get, but I don't think so.
Okay, final. The answer. The answer is this card is very good. This card is very good. So, if I
did it.
So hand traps. This is mainly to combat against hand traps like Effect Veiler. So, if they activate the Effect Veiler and negate your card, this gives you a chance to recover. You know, they negated your starter, but now you can draw 2 more cards to maybe draw into another one, or now you can look at their hand and maybe stop them from playing on their turn, even though they stopped you on yours. So maybe you get another turn, or so if they disrupt you with a hand trap on your turn, or to any monster effect, even if it's just like one of their boss monsters' effects that does anything, then this basically brings you back from a losing position and puts you in a good spot. Now, this card is mostly used going second. I mean, it's fine going first or second. It's better going second, so a lot of people put it in their side deck. But it's just a good card overall. So the 3 effects listed on here are from 3 of the most notoriously banned cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! The first one is Pot of Greed. The second one is Change of Heart, which used to be banned. It was banned at the time of this card's printing. And then the last one is the Forceful Century, which has the same effect. Look at your opponent's hand and choose 1 card from it, shuffle into the deck. Those 3 cards were all sorcery speed for no cost. You could activate them. They were so good, they all got banned. And they put all 3 of them onto 1 card. So, yeah. Now, this obviously isn't as broken. This card's at 3 copies. It's not as broken as any of those 3 cards.
Huh.
Because, of course, they still have to activate it, an effect on your turn. A lot of times, what they'll do is try to activate it during your draw phase. If they have something they want to play.
Okay.
So
that way they can play around this card.
Right. If there's a card called Dimension Shifter, which you can activate during the draw phase, which says that all cards that would be sent to the graveyard are banished instead. So people will play that during the draw phase to play around this. But for the most part, like cards like Effect Veiler can only be activated in the main phase. And most of your plays will happen in the main phase. So if they want to disrupt you, it'll mostly be in the main phase. So this card basically turns a losing position into a possibly winnable one. And if you get stopped in your plays, it lets you get back to do something, especially going second, when you can steal any monster and do anything with it. So this card is very good.
This is what's that green card? The 1 mana cryptic command. Is it Autumn's Veil?
No. Veil of Summer.
Veil of Summer.
Veil of Summer.
This is Veil of Summer.
Veil of Summer. Draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. And you and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until the end of turn.
It's
so
not quite the same.
Like if they play a card on your turn.
Well, it's instant. So this is a little bit better because you can do it on their turn. But the idea is you play this. If an opponent's playing blue or black, which is what this one is the equivalent of, right? If they're playing counter spells, if they're playing removal spells, then
yeah,
that
seems pretty good. So yeah, those are all the cards. I don't know what the final scores were.
Yeah, I wasn't keeping track.
Those were the cards. Yeah.
That was a ton of fun, David. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show. Mm-hmm. David, have you got any words of wisdom for us?
Play Yu-Gi-Oh! And here's look. I know.
Look at this art. Why would I ever sign up for this art?
Wow, what's wrong with art?
It's a super cool.
What are we looking at? A shovel? A spatula?
It's a samurai holding a fan.
It's like a flag or something. Not
that
like
there's
a flag,
even
like
a discussion we're having.
Like an emblem.
I think it's a fan.
So there's another card called Triple Tactics Thrust, and it shows you the full picture of the samurai guy. Right, he's riding like a horse or something, and basically it says if your opponent activated a monster effect during your main phase this turn, you can add any normal spell or trap from your deck to your hand or set it on the field. And so usually they'll use that card to search this one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. There's some lore with it or something. But yeah, I would say if you're like worried about getting back into the game, like take it slow. Like you don't always have to play the meta deck. You can always play with your friends. Play with people who at the same power level as you. Play alternative formats. Look to other ways to play the game. And again, you don't have to play the strongest decks around to have fun playing the game. You don't have to play the craziest combo decks to have fun playing the game. The thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is that there are so many cards, there's so many different archetypes, and each one is different and distinct. That whatever play style you like in a card game, you can probably find it in Yu-Gi-Oh. So give it a shot. Start with like a Blue Eyes structure deck, like one of those old Blue Eyes structure decks that's like barely playable. Just because that's how I started. That's how I started. Like I started just by getting structure decks, starter decks, and just building based off the characters I watched in the show on the anime. Because I watched the anime and I was like, that's so cool. I want to get their cards, and that's how I got into the game. And then slowly you get into it. So just give it a chance. Give it a chance. It's really not as bad as people say it is online. And once you really get into the game, you can see how really fun it is.
David, that was so much fun. David, great words of wisdom. You've clearly learned a lot from all of us here at My Mythical.
That's right.
We appreciate your patronage so much, and we're so glad to have you with us. I mean,
this was fun.
This is exactly the kind of community that we would like to build and cultivate, not only for ourselves and our meta, but all metas, to create conversations like these where people can talk about cards, games, have disagreements, but ultimately strengthen their friendships through it too. So thank you so much, David. Listeners, thank you for listening. Remember to please click subscribe, click that bell icon, comment whether you think Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh is the better game. There is a right answer. And if you're interested in becoming a patron like David, you can find us at patreon.com/mymythicalmeta. One last question, Randy. How can people contact us directly through email?
mymythicalmeta@gmail.com.
First try, nailed it. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys, especially you, David, for being my great friends. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode was sponsored by Eldorado Gaming. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This episode was edited by me, Travis Konishek, and our intro and outro music is by Tyler Heath of the Oh Hellos.